And these 2 points of inertia want to become a single point. So you can already start seeing something like gravity going on here. But this is still just magnetism. Again, I'll talk about this. So if you have a neutron, a perfect standing wave, this neutron will also become a proton. It will become a proton. So these two things are the same. There is only one particle. So a neutron and a proton are two states of this one particle. You can't have any other particles. The reason you can't have any other particles is there's only one wave. There's only one distance to this wave. And therefore there's only one solution to have a particle. And that's all going to be governed by phi. You can't have anything else. So there's only one particle. Everything else, okay, there's another digression. Everything else that we're looking at as particles, all different things, these are not particles. They may behave a bit like particles, but they're not. You've got constructive and destructive nodes. You have the field like this, and when you have the field, interacting field, you have nodes of constructive interference, and you have nodes of destructive interference. So these will be nodes where matter appears to be, and these will be like sinkholes. This is where inertia is going back. These are inertial holes. So in these things, as the field is moving, these things will move. So these will appear like particles, but they're not. They're just interference patterns in the field. You will also get, and this is what they're looking at in CERN. What are they looking at in CERN? Because anyone in CERN, if I tell them there's only one particle, it's a neutron, they'll laugh. But in CERN, they're looking at particles, exotic particles, and they're going to keep finding them forever and ever and ever. Because they're not looking at particles, they're looking at these interference patterns. And every time a collision happens, all sorts of energy is coming out. It's always infinite variety of energy coming out. So every time they collide something, it's going to be different. Something different will happen, and they'll go on forever. They're going to find exotic particles forevermore. They're never going to find one. They're going to find an infinite number. You see, and you still will have droplets of energy. You see, there's another thing. Let me just describe this to you. You know, you have water. If you drop a rock into a pool of water, what happens? Well, first things first, the water goes down as the rock falls in. So the water goes down, and as the rock goes into the water, so the rock has now gone into the water, what happens is the water fills up around it and starts to rise up in response, doesn't it? It starts to rise up. As the rock goes down, now the water's rising up to fill the space. And what happens is, once you go up, there's a moment when the water goes up like this, and the rock has gone down now, the water's gone up, and the water goes up, and then the water then separates, a little bit of water separates up, and for a moment, you'll see it. If you watch this in slow motion camera, you'll see a little droplet of water form for a moment at the top there, as the rock drops in. So now this is like a water particle. You'd say, oh, water has created a particle. But of course that's not actually a particle of water. It's a droplet of water, but you can't say that's a particle of water. It's a droplet of water created by this impact. It's created by an impact of the rock hitting the water. So this is what they're looking at in CERN, exotic particles. And depending on the size of the rock, you will have a different size droplet. So you're looking at CERN, they're just looking at interference nodes, and they're looking at droplets of energy. And these behave a bit like particles, but they don't exist very long. You see, that's one of their complaints. Let me just show it to you. Look, in CERN, you have a collision. They shoot the two particles together here and they collide. And these, then around it, has got some material. And what happens is the energy comes out and it hits this material. And when it hits this material, it's absorbed by it. So it will come out and it's traveling at a certain speed. It will be absorbed by the material and it will move like this, like this. And then another one will come out and go like that. Another one will go, oh, it's gone out. Another one might just, oh, I stopped. So they'll do all different things following the magnetic field or whatever's going on in this material. And because they know what this material is, and because they know the impact, they can look at these lines and say, oh, well, that was a particle coming off, and it has this properties because it went like that. But, oh, then it ended, it finished. Where did it go? Where did it go? Well, it went back to inertia. You just created a droplet of energy that's gone back to inertia. And you could have all varieties of energy. So you're going to find these things forevermore. It's okay, I don't want to be too dismissive because they've discovered a lot of interesting things. But this is very primitive science. It's very primitive science. Look, you can have Look, you've got two monkeys. Here's a monkey sitting down, okay, and this monkey here is throwing rocks. There's another one, right? He's throwing rocks. There's a rock, and there's another monkey over here, right? And again, now he's throwing rocks. So we got the science of two monkeys. Oh, that's meant to be his tail. Here's two monkeys throwing rocks together. That's what we're doing. So, and they're getting excited. Look, we threw two rocks here, and we got a spark. There's going to be a spark happening. Even with two rocks, you're going to get atomic things happening. Energy coming off here. You're going to get subatomic particles coming off here, because they don't know that. And what happens? Well, then you've got a rubble. Look, the two rocks broke up. And we got small bits. And we got some sand, and we got a big bit. And then the monkeys come in and look at this. And they go, wow, look at that experiment. We've got big rocks, small rocks. Let's do it again. And we had a spark. And they do it again. And they have a different pile of rocks. They do it again. There's a different pile of rocks. This will go forever. There's always going to be a different pile of rocks at the bottom. They're always going to have a slightly different spark coming out. But just doing this over and over, they're not going to learn anything. This is not telling you anything about what rocks are. It's not telling you anything about what a spark is. So this is what we got in CERN. Apologies to anyone. Now, you should know I nearly did a PhD in theoretical physics, and I would have been working at CERN myself. So I could have been there, but I didn't do it. I wanted to do theoretical physics, and that was just so competitive that didn't manage to do a PhD in theoretical physics. But I'm glad in a way I didn't, because it left me to think about this. It would have been a waste of time. I would have got my head lost in all that quantum mechanics and relativity. It's very complex, and I'm sorry to say, pointless mathematics. Pointless. You don't need it. So that was an aside, but nobody's looking at particles. They're looking at droplets of energy and interference nodes.